restrictions. Let's thank Professor Davis again for a very elegant...
On silicon nanotropsch, active for Fischer-Tropsch synthesis. A mechanistic study.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen. From the title of this presentation, you'll see we're going to focus on the formation of nanosized cobalt crystallites supported on silica-modified gamma alumina active in Fischer-Tropsch synthesis. This study was made possible through collaborative research work between Software Technology Research and Development in Salzburg, South Africa, and the Rostock Institute of Catalysis here in Novosibirsk. Hence the lot of co-authors that you see on this. So I would like to make use of this opportunity to acknowledge also the contributions of each of these co-authors towards this presentation. Choice of topic, why we are interested in the mechanism of cobalt anchoring. Well, it's fairly simple. Cobalt is a very popular gas to liquids Fischer-Tropsch catalyst. And for those of you not familiar with the gas to liquids complex, the process mainly comprises of four main units: the air separation unit, which is fairly a capital intensive part of the operation. Reforming section, where you combine oxygen and natural gas to give you syngas or synthesis gas, which is mainly carbon monoxide and hydrogen. And then the Fischer-Tropsch section, which converts the carbon monoxide and hydrogen into long-chain waxy products, which goes into a refinery section, which is essentially a hydrocracker, to give you diesel as well as naphtha. And for this monster, we aim to maximize the diesel yield because it's a high-performance fuel, gives you low emissions, and therefore it's environmentally friendly. A little bit of naphtha is also produced. It is of low octane numbers, and it is not a very good fuel on its own. But it's an excellent and preferred feedstock for crackers and hence chemical production. In terms of commercializing this, Fossil and Qatar Petroleum has unveiled a 34,000 barrels per day GTL complex in Qatar in June 2006, and this process this plant is currently in operation. On this photo, you can see the two air separation units, the autothermal reformers, and the two large Fischer-Tropsch reactors with the loading hoppers, catalyst loading hoppers in between. That's just a night image of the same complex because all chemical plants look beautiful at night time. That's why I've just included that, and this is also the case in this plant. In terms of the chemical reaction for the Fischer-Tropsch process, you convert carbon monoxide and hydrogen to long-chain products, and depending on the choice of catalyst and reactor conditions, you can change the carbon chain length as well as the various type of functional group incorporation into that chosen length. Cobalt is the catalyst of choice for GTL processes due to its hyperfast conversion, in other words, water stability that the catalyst has, very high selectivity towards linear paraffins, and very low water gas shift activity. On the drawback side, there's no such thing as a free lunch, so this catalyst also has a negative to it. Very expensive metal, cobalt, so you have to maximize the cobalt usage and then catalyst life. Therefore, we make use of supported systems. Typical way of how you can prepare a catalyst, you start with your pre-shaped modified support, bring that in contact with your cobalt 2+ source, which in this case is cobalt nitrohexahydrate, and through a slurry or incipient impregnation mode, followed by drying and calcination, end up with your cobalt oxide, which is supported. This support catalyst can rejoin the cycle if you want to increase the cobalt content, and you can add more cobalt to that in successive impregnations, or you can take the catalyst directly into a reduction chamber where you reduce the cobalt oxide to cobalt metal, followed by wax coating and Fischer-Tropsch synthesis. On a microstructure level, the support that we've used in this study is the silica-modified gamma alumina, and it's made up of a lot of lamella, plate-like structure, which is randomly stacked to give you the pore structure in between with an average pore diameter of roughly 12 nanometers. During catalyst manufacture, you fill these pores with cobalt nitrate solution and follow drying and calcination, you end up with a material looking like this. This is a high-angle angular dark field pen, so the cobalt should show out as white dots. A couple of things that you should notice from this pen image. First of all, the cobalt is not uniformly dispersed over the support of the material. It's almost like bunches of grapes lying on the surface of the table. From a catalyst deactivation point, this is not an ideal configuration because the cobalt is in close proximity to each other, and if deactivation occurs by a thermal deactivation route, i.e. sintering, this system would actually facilitate sintering. Another very interesting thing that you should note from this is that these microglobular configurations, these grape-like structures or ensemble of crystallites, are more or less of uniform size, between 50 and 100 nanometers, which is much larger than the average pore diameter of the support that we started with. So that should immediately raise some warning lights, but we hope to give you a satisfactory explanation for that in the course of this presentation. Microglobular configuration is not only limited to cobalt and alumina and Fischer-Tropsch synthesis. You find it fairly widely published in literature. We've included just 2 examples to illustrate that. The left-hand side is also Fischer-Tropsch catalyst, but in this case cobalt and silica. You clearly see the microglobular configuration there. And to the right, a totally non-related catalyst system. It's an olefin metathesis system where tungsten trioxide is also found in the microglobular configuration. So in order to deviate from microglobular configuration, you need to understand the mechanism for formation of these microglobules. And we took it way back to the mechanism of anchoring of cobalt 2+ on your support. Now there are basically 2 mechanisms that we would like to propose. The first one is an interaction between cobalt 2+ and acidic sites on your support. And through water substitution, in other words, ligand substitution of the inner 4 coordinated water molecules, you end up with the cobalt pentyl hydride that is support docked, and you also, through proton metathesis, end up with nitric acid that is being expelled. Basic sites can also get involved in the same type of docking mechanism. The only difference is that you don't expel nitric acid in this one. That's basically the only difference that you can observe. So it's very important to not only identify but also quantify the various types of acidic and basic sites that your support possesses. For that, we've used a model system that we refer to for the rest of the study, example B18445. Which is a bulk doped silicon-modified gamma aluminum material containing roughly 5% silica and 95% gamma aluminum. By making use of various probe molecules that was adsorbed on the surface of this material and infrared drift studies, as described in these 2 attached references, we were able to quantify the amount of strong boracic acid sites, 33 micromoles per gram, moderate strength boracic acid sites, 100 micromoles per gram, Lewis sites 420, and 2 different strength basic sites 175 and 460. Next logical step was to target only the strong boracic acid sites, because these are the sites that were in really smaller quantities as compared to the rest, and do cobalt titration experiments. These experiments were conducted by bringing the support in contact with a solution containing the appropriate amount of cobalt 2+. For the first support that we've prepared, or the catalyst precursor that we've prepared, we aimed for a cobalt to strong boracic acid ratio of 1:1. Following equilibration time and filtration, we also washed the material thoroughly to make sure that there's no uncoordinated cobalt 2+ still remaining on the support. So that if you analyze the support, you only look at the docked cobalt on the support surface. We did exactly the same for the second material. This time we aimed for a strong boracic acid site and moderate boracic acid site ratio of 1:1. Which corresponded to 133 micromoles per gram, again with thorough washing. We followed this up with 2 additional samples. Here we just doubled the amount of cobalt nitrate solution used. In other words, go for a strong boracic acid, moderate boracic acid site ratio of 2:1 to cobalt, but no washing step. So we want to see what the effect of redundant cobalt is and where that anchors as well. And also last sample where we aim for almost a kind of complete pore filling of the cobalt nitrate, where we aim to fill basically all the pores that were available with cobalt nitrate and evaluated that. Summary of the samples that we've obtained. For the first sample, B18445-1, where we aimed for only the strong boracic acid site, we found that 95% of the cobalt actually remained on the support, giving a clear indication that that was properly docked. For the second sample, where we aimed to dock on both the strong boracic acid sites as well as boracic acid sites with medium strength, we found that only 64% of the cobalt remained, and that value kept on decreasing. Give you some clear indication that the docking is most probably taking place in the strongest boracic acid sites, because the rest of the sites were in excessive amounts compared to the boracic acid sites. Another interesting thing is, for this material, if you study that in water, you end up with a pH of roughly 7.6. For the cobalt nitrate solution, we had a pH of 2.4. Upon mixing these 2, the combined solution had a pH of 3.2. So if nitric acid expellation took place, you can imagine that nitric acid can absorb on your strong basic sites as well. To confirm that, we actually repeated all of these experiments, but instead of using cobalt nitrate, we used a 1:1 molar ratio of nitric acid. And in all of these cases, we saw that the pH actually increased, giving a clear confirmation that nitric acid do dock on the support. We then took those solid impregnated catalyst precursors and subjected them to UV-vis DRS analysis. Very interesting to note, for the first sample we aimed at just docking on the strong bronzite acid side. We saw this new peak. This is basically just an expansion of that section there and that one there, all in one graph, and we normalized all these figures to that peak of 19,000, 19,600. Now that new peak that appeared there can be assigned to cobalt 2+, having 5 water molecules surrounding it and one formally negatively charged oxygen group associated to the cobalt 2+ form. As you keep on increasing the cobalt content, you see that that peak actually decreased, and the peak at 19,000 starts shifting, adopting bulk phase cobalt nitrate character. So what is this telling us from a mechanistic point of view? First of all, most probably the strongest bronzite acid sites engage your cobalt 2+ complex. Through ligand substitution, you end up with the surface dot complex, that is at peak at 13,400 as well as 17,400. When you add more cobalt to cobalt, instead of growing on new sites, actually start docking on top of existing coordinated cobalt 2+, and then through electron exchange processes, you see that move of the peak at 19,000 to 19,600, and the disappearance of the peak at 13,400. Since we do the drying at elevated temperatures, typically above the melting point of bulk phase cobalt nitrate, we'd expect that the final support or catalyst precursor would contain the cobalt nitrate in micro droplets or nano droplets. To confirm this, we performed some DSC experiments, and we clearly see that bulk phase cobalt nitrate shows a melting maxima at about 54 degrees Celsius, and for this impregnated material without any calcination and still containing cobalt nitrate hexahydrate, showed a peak maxima at about 47 degrees Celsius. When you do repetitive cycles, in other words, you keep the material at elevated temperatures, 65 degrees Celsius for elevated periods of time, you see that upon cooling and re-recording of the spectra that peak maximum starts drifting towards bulk phase cobalt nitrate character, giving us a clear indication that coalescence of cobalt nitrate droplets is most probably taking place. And you keep on taking place until you reach some critical size, which seems to be between 50 and 100 nanometers in size, where the process stops. And following calcination, you get severe shrinking of the cobalt nitrate bulk phase due to cobalt oxide. And that shrinking is mainly due to density changes between the two materials. And that resembles your microglobular configuration quite closely. But still, we haven't explained why the process stopped at roughly about 100 nanometers in size. And for that, you need to do a bit of theoretical calculations. Let's look at two extreme cases. One case where the cobalt nitrate droplets shows a very strong interaction with the support. In other words, the forces of adhesion is much stronger than the force of cohesion in your droplet. And also the other extreme case where the cobalt nitrate shows a very weak interaction with the support. In other words, a kind of phobic interaction with the support. In both cases, you can define this wetting angle theta. And by making use of the Laplace-Young equation, if you know the surface tension of this droplet, and you know the wetting angle, as well as the radius of the meniscus of this droplet, you can actually calculate the internal pressure in this droplet. We simply don't have all of these values, so we had to make use of a couple of assumptions. For the surface tension of cobalt nitrate hexahydrate, we used a value for the surface tension of 1.02 times 10 to the power minus 4, which was based on linear extrapolation to other transition metal nitrate salts. Theta, the wetting angle, we used as 135, which was halfway between the wetting angle of the cobalt nitrate droplet that shows a poor interaction, because by definition that cutoff angle is 120 degrees Celsius, 120 degrees, and the maximum angle was 150 recorded for mercury on a Teflon surface. So we know that cobalt is associated in this type of fashion with the silicon modified alumina. And we just used an angle of 135 that was somewhere in between. And you will see the values are actually not that important, you end up with exactly the same conclusion. If you fudge these values back into the Laplace-Young equation, you end up with a simplified equation that says that the internal pressure in these droplets is most probably equal to 1,500 divided by the radius of the meniscus of your droplet. What does this mean in practice? If you start forming a small nano-sized droplet between two lamella, by a coalescence of two other droplets. And if that droplet is confined in this space, it has the ability, if that droplet size has a radius of 1 nanometers, to exert a force of 1,500 bar on those lamella, giving it high probability to distort the lamella. As this droplet starts growing, the internal force starts to decrease. In other words, your internal pressure starts to decrease, and the force that a 50 nanometer radius droplet exerts on the lamella is down to about 30 bar. Hence, the process starts to decrease. In other words, you almost end with a stopping of this coalescence process. So we can put forward two mechanisms. One where lamellar distortion is basically put forward as an acceptable mechanism, so the lamella is distorted outwards, you end up with this cavity in which cobalt nitrate is situated, and hence you can get droplets that are larger than the average pore diameter of your support, or a simple lamellar encapsulation mechanism where the droplets are just melting around this lamella. At this point in time, we support the first mechanism based on the following experimental evidence. For the model support B1045, we had a surface area of 290 square meters per gram and a pore volume of 0.83 milliliters per gram. Following impregnation with cobalt nitrate, you see a decrease in both surface area and pore volume as you would expect. But when we removed all of the cobalt nitrate through successive acetone extraction experiments, we could restore the surface area to above 95% of the initial surface area. But the pore volume we could only restore to about 70% of its initial value, which gives a clear indication that lamellar distortion did take place. We can take into consideration that we use nitrogen adsorption experiments for determining the BET pore volume in the surface area. We'd expect that cavities larger than 100 nanometers would not be detected, and hence a decrease in pore volume that we have observed. Another piece of evidence is from TIM images. Here you can clearly see the densified alumina layer surrounding your cobalt oxide microglobular configuration, and the orange here is also your undistorted gamma alumina. If you zoom in on the edge of one of these microglobules, you can also see from high resolution electron microscopy images that this densified alumina layer there in color is roughly about 20 nanometers in size. So now we know that a microglobular formation is most probably formed through coalescence of droplets due to this poor interaction with this sport. So what happens if we go to the opposite direction, where we purposely increase the forces of adhesion and decrease the force of cohesion within the droplet? Can we actually deviate from the microglobular configuration? To test that, we actually made a couple of supports where we've carbon coated this model B1045 support by a chemical vapor deposition of acetone at elevated temperatures. Following a mild oxidation, you can clearly see the carboxylate, carbonate, alcohol, aromatic, and alkyl functionalities that is now incorporated on this carbon-coated material, contrary to just this SiOH one that we had for the model support. This made the support much more polar, and by using this support in catalyst impregnation studies, we found that as we increase the cobalt or the carbon content from left to right, we see a distinct decrease in the microglobular configuration, ending up with a nice uniform dispersion at the end. To summarize this, when you have a non-polar support, you end up with a microglobular configuration. When you increase the polarity of your surface, you can actually end up with a nicely uniform void space in between your crystallites. If you want to know more about this, please consult one of my colleagues, Dr. Michael Dutt's poster presentation, poster 26. Remember that for, I think, tomorrow afternoon, if you want to learn more about this. Final conclusion, we put forward a plausible mechanism for the formation of a microglobular configuration on silica-modified alumina supports. We have found that cobalt 2+ is most probably docking on the strongest bronze acid sites of the support. We have found that if you increase the cobalt concentration, growth occurs most probably on already docked cobalt 2+ species and not on new sites. And thirdly, coalescence of the molten cobalt nitrate gives rise to this microglobular configuration that we observe. To validate this postulate, we have deviated from the microglobular configuration by moving in the opposite direction, where we actually enhance the support metal-salt interaction. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your nice presentation. And it's now time for questions, if there are any. Yes, please, here in the front row.
We're just wondering, which of your systems is the most likely to be the last commercial catalyst?
A very good question. We basically study a lot of systems. For this study, we've used the silicon-modified gamma alumina material. You will see from our patents, we've always modified the gamma alumina surfaces with ranging from silica, zirconium, and so forth. So So this is very close to a commercial system. I can't tell you whether this is a commercial system. But it's a nice model system to study the commercial catheters that we use.
Do you get more stability by adding silica to the alumina?
Well, you get more stability of alumina by adding quite a lot of things. You can add metal salts as well to that. Silica is a very good one. You get basically that the support becomes more robust towards abrasion, friction, and so forth, and also towards chemical leaching. So yeah.
I'm interested in that you don't get the coalescence which you're talking about.
Yeah, silica on its own will not prevent that coalescence. You need to actually increase the polarity of the support much more. Because in these studies you will see we've added 5% silica on the surface. It's about doping, so there's about 2% of the silica sitting on the surface. It is actually surface enriched. And that was not enough to prevent this coalescence of particles. No. So silica on its own will not.
It's still working.
Yeah, well, that's a continuous process, yes.
What was the cobalt loading in the support in catalyst?
Sorry, I missed that
What
one.
was the cobalt content in the catalyst?
Okay, cobalt content for these model systems that we've used ranged quite a lot. You'll see one, for instance, the last one that we aimed for. I can just perhaps quickly go there if the chairperson would allow me to do that. There you have, for instance. That is, for instance, the fourth sample. You could actually get 100 to 1.5 grams of cobalt nitrate into this B1845, but you can work it out. You aim normally for complete full filling, and if you know the density of the cobalt nitrate, you can work out how much cobalt you can load. So anything from 20 grams per 100 grams support, even up to 50 grams per 100 grams support that you can load, depending on the number of impregnation sheets as well.
Yes. And did you have, in addition to this large globules, small cobalt nanoparticles in the mesopore of aluminum? Did you have also small cobalt nanoparticles in the mesopores of aluminum in addition to what you showed us by microscopy?
Very difficult to answer. Most probably you will have, but remember also this is not the real mesoporic material that we use. It's really an amorphous structure of the lamella that you've got. So we talk about an average pore diameter of 12 nanometers, but it's actually a complete mix of these plate-like structures that just gives an average of 12 nanometers. So talk about mesoporous or microporous type of cavities or pores, it's very difficult to distinguish between those. And if the coalescence is actually giving you a distortion of lamella, then you can actually start exchanging some true mesoporous and microporous material to resemble each other. So it's a very difficult question to answer.
And this catalyst was our platinum